Mishle, Proverbs, chapter 14. Every wise woman has built her house, but the foolish breaks it down with her own hands. He who walks in his straightness fears Yahuah, but he whose ways are crooked despises him. In the mouth of a fool is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise guard them. Where there are no oxen, the crib is clean, but from the strength of an ox comes much increase. A trustworthy witness does not lie, but a false witness breathes out lies. A scoffer shall seek wisdom but find none, but knowledge is swift to him who has understanding. Leave the presence of a foolish man, for you shall not perceive the lips of insight. The wisdom of the clever is to discern his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools scoff at guilt, but among the truthful there is delight. The heart knows its own bitterness, and no stranger shares its joy. The house of the false is destroyed, but the tent of the truthful flourishes. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Even in laughter, the heart is in pain, and in the end that joy is heaviness. The deviant in heart is satisfied with his own ways, but a good man is satisfied from his. The simple believes every word, but the clever one watches his step. The wise fears and turns away from evil, but a fool rushes on and is reckless. He who is impatient acts foolishly, and a man who plans wickedness is hated. The simple shall inherit folly, but the clever are crowned with knowledge. The evil one shall bow before the good, and the wrong ones at the gates of the righteous. The poor is hated even by his own friend, but the rich has many friends. He who despises his friend sins, but he who shows favor to the poor, happy is he. Do not those who plan evil go astray, but kindness and truth are to those who plan good. In all labor there is profit, but talk of the lips leads only to poverty. The crown of the wise is their wealth. The folly of fools is folly. A true witness saves lives, but he who breathes out lies is a betrayer. In the fear of Yahuah is strong trust, and his children have a place of refuge. The fear of Yahuah is a fountain of life. To turn away from the snares of death in a multitude of people is a sovereign splendor, but in the lack of people is the ruin of a prince. He who is patient has great understanding, but he who is short of humility exalts folly. A healthy heart is life to the body, but envy is rottenness to the bones. He who oppresses the poor reproaches his maker, but he who esteems him shows favor to the needy. By his own evil doing the wrong is thrust down, but the righteous has a refuge in his death. Wisdom rests in the heart of him who has understanding, and even among fools it becomes known. Uprightness exalts a nation, but crime is a reproach to peoples. The sovereign's delight is toward a wise servant, but his wrath is towards him who causes shame. Mishle, Proverbs chapter 15. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up displeasure. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge good, but the mouth of fools pours out foolishness. The eyes of Yahuah are in every place, watching the evil and the good. A healing tongue is a tree of life, but the perverseness in its weakness, the breath. A fool despises his father's discipline, but he who heeds reproof is clever. The household of the righteous is a great treasure, but in the income of the wrong is trouble. The lips of the wise scatter knowledge, but the heart of fools is not so. The slaughtering of the false one is an adherence to Yahuah, but the prayer of the truthful is his delight. The way of the wrong one is an adherence to Yahuah, but he loves him who pursues uprightness. Discipline is grievous to him who forsakes the way. He who hates reproof dies. The grave and destruction are before Yahuah. How much more the hearts of the sons of men? A scoffer does not love his reprover, nor does he go to the wise. A glad heart makes good a face, but by sorrow of heart the breath is stricken. The heart of the understanding one seeks knowledge, but the mouth of fools feeds on folly. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but gladness of heart is a continual feast. Better is a little with the fear of Yahuah than great treasure with trouble. Better is a meal of vegetables where love is than a fatted calf with hatred. A man of wrath stirs up strife, but he who is patient appeases strife. The way of a lazy one is like a hedge of thorns, but the way of straight is a highway. A wise son makes a father's glad, but a foolish man despises his mother. Folly is joy to one lacking heart, but a man of understanding walks straight. Without counsel, plans go wrong, but by many counselors they are established. A man has joy by the answer of his mouth, and how good is his word spoken in its season. The path of life is upward for the wise, to turn away from the grave below. Yahuah tears down the house of the proud, and he sets up the boundary of the widow. Evil thoughts are an abomination to Yahuah, but pleasant words are clean. He who is greedy for gain troubles his own house, but he who hates bribes lives. The heart of the righteous ponders how to answer, but the mouth of the wrong pours out evil. Yahuah is far from the wrong ones, but he hears the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eyes rejoices the heart. A good report gives marrow to the bones. An ear that hears the reproof of life does dwell among the wise. He who ignores correction hates himself, but he who listens to advice gets insight. The fear of Yahuah is the correction of wisdom, and before esteem is humility. Mishle, Proverbs, chapter 16. To man belongs the preparations of the heart, but from Yahuah is the answer of the tongue. All the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but Yahuah weighs the ruachs. Commit your works to Yahuah, and your plans shall be established. Yahuah has made all for his purpose, and also the wrong for the day of evil. Everyone proud in heart is an adherence to Yahuah. Hand to hand he goes not unpunished. By kindness and truth, crookedness is pardoned. And in the fear of Yahuah, one turns away from evil. When a man's ways please Yahuah, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than a large income without right ruling. A man's heart plans his way, but Yahuah establishes his steps. An oath is on the lips of the sovereign. In right ruling, his mouth trespasses not. A right scale and balances are of Yahuah. All the weights in the bag are in his work. It is an abomination for sovereigns to commit wrongness, for a throne is established by rightness. Just lips are the delight of sovereigns, and they love him who speaks what is truthful. The sovereign's wrath is a messenger of death, but a wise man appeases it. In the light of the sovereign's face is life, and his delight is like a cloud of the latter rain. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding is preferable to silver. The highway of the straight is to turn away from evil. He who guards his life watches over his way. Before destruction, pride, and before a fall, a haughty ruach. Better to be lowly in ruach with the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. He who acts wisely concerning the word finds good, and blessed is he who trusts in Yahuah. The wise, heartened, is called discerning, and sweetness of lips increasing learning. Insight is a fountain of life to him who has it, but the disciplining of fools is folly. The heart of the wise gives discretion to his mouth, and he increases learning to his lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweet to the being and healing to the bones. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. He who labors, labors for himself, for his mouth drives him on. A man of Belial plots evil, and on his lips it's like burning fire. A perverse man sends forth strife, and a whisperer separates intimate friends. A ruthless man entices his friend and leads him in a way that is not good. Winking with his eye to plot perversity, moving his lips, he shall bring about evil. Gray hair is a crown of adorning. It is found in the way of the righteousness. He who is patient is better than the mighty, and he who rules over his ruach than he who takes a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but every decision by it is from Yahuah. Mishle, Proverbs chapter 17. Better is a dry piece of bread and rest with it than a house filled with the offerings of strife. A wise servant rules over a son who causes shame and shares an inheritance among the brothers. A refining pot is for silver and a furnace for gold, but Yahuah tests the hearts. An evildoer gives heed to wicked lips. A liar gives ear to a tongue of desire. He who mocks the poor reproaches his maker. He who rejoices at calamity does not go unpunished. Children's children are the crown of old men, and the adornment of children is their fathers. Excellent speech is not fitting for a fool, much less lying lips for a noble. A bribe is a stone of favor in the eyes of its owner. Wherever he turns, he prospers. He who covers a crime seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates intimate friends. Advice enters deeper into a wise man than 100 blows on a fool. An evil one seeks only rebellion, so a cruel messenger is sent against him. Let a bereaved bear meet a man, rather than a fool in his folly. Whoever rewards evil for good, evil does not leave his house. The beginning of strife is like releasing water, therefore stop fighting before it breaks out. He who declares the wrong right, and he who condemns the righteous, both of them are an adherence to Yahuah. Why is this? A price in the hand of a fool to buy wisdom when there is no heart. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. A man lacking heart shakes hands in a pledge. He becomes a guarantor for his friend. He who loves transgression loves strife. He who exalts his door seeks destruction. He who has a crooked heart finds no good, and he who has a perverse tongue falls into evil. He who brings forth a fool has sorrow for it, and the father of a fool has no joy. A rejoicing heart causes good healing, but a stricken ruach dries the bones. One who is wrong accepts a bribe behind the back to pervert the paths of right ruling. Wisdom is before the face of the insightful one, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her who bore him. It is also not good to punish the just one, to smite noble ones for straightness. He who has knowledge spares his words, and a man of understanding is cool of ruach. Even a fool keeping silence is regarded as wise, as understanding when he closes his lips.